Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
She's gonna take you and keep you, build you up to break through, forsake you. Promise of lycanthropy, Jekyll Hyde philosophy. Slave her to save her, deceiving in nature, this creature. Innocent catastrophe.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm very excited about our next guest because he's a cool-ass fucking rocker and from a cool-ass fucking band, just to be blunt. And they have a great single out. It ain't alright, but it is badass. So welcome to the show, Patrick from Budderside. How are you?
Hi, man. Thanks. It's so good to see you again. Last time I saw you was at Rockville. What an epic day. What an epic start to the day with you that day. And
Nice.
we're still using that photograph you took for our PR. So thanks for a million things.
I love it. I love it. And you're going to be at two of my favorite festivals this year, Louder and Aftershock.
Yeah. Hell
And I'll tell you why I'm really excited about both those festivals is number one, Budderside's playing there. And then just as an afterthought, so is Slayer.
yeah. Right? You know what's funny is the last time we played with Slayer before, we did the motorboat cruise. Lemmy invited us to be a part of that. And Slayer played the same, like two slots after us. It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a reunion of sorts.
I know, right? Okay, you ready for this? This will blow your mind. I was at Slayer's first show ever.
No way.
Yeah.
Of course you were.
I know,
Of course
right?
you were.
I've seen them like a million times, and you know what? A few more times this year is still not enough.
So you were at their first show ever?
Uh-huh.
Wow. So was there just like a crazy pit? Like what was the vibe?
Well, it's crazy, but it was LA and there was nothing really like it except them and Metallica, which is why they went to the Bay Area. And
Yeah.
it was, everything was starting to go towards the hair metal stuff. And, Motley Crue was the heaviest thing out there till Slayer and Metallica got there.
Right.
And then Motley Crue went totally in the other direction because they were kind of heavy in the beginning, and then here's an interesting story though. When Slayer went up to the Bay Area, they actually were, the other Bay Area bands were giving them crap because they wore eyeliner, to look evil down in LA, and the way the Bay Area thrash looked at it is you're just another one of those glam hair metal bands.
That's so interesting. I would have never, I thought, the last thing that they'd go to the grave without wearing makeup, that's the kind of.
Yeah, they wore like the dark eyeliner so they could look evil, almost like the King Diamond kind of look.
King Diamond. Remember Mickey D was in that from the beginning,
Yep.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It was so wild because down in LA we thought we were cool to begin with, and then when Slayer and Metallica left, they left us with nobody. And then I went up to the Bay Area. I'm like, oh my God, this is where it's cool.
Right. Yeah. Testament, Exodus, Slayer, all of them were thrashing around up there. Right. Yeah. That was
unbelievable.
A hub for metal. Like it was, San Francisco was the spot. I was up there, I grew up there. So that was like where we would go. And that was really, the whole vibe was all about being super heavy. I remember my first day coming into high school, there were a couple of sophomores or maybe they were juniors and they had these, the denim jackets on with the leather vest over, and they had Slayer patches and Testament patches and Exodus patches. And, I walk in and I don't know what kind of look I was repping, to be honest, but I had a Walkman in my hand. And the first thing they did was they grabbed me by my jacket and they threw me up against the locker. And I was like, oh shit.
I'm laughing because I can remember this. Even though I wasn't there, I've seen it a million times.
But they wanted to accuse me of being a poser, and then they opened up my my Walkman, and Ride the Lightning was in there, and they were like, all right, okay.
That's how it was too. I have my vest just in the other room too that like I could never wear today, but there wasn't even, when I had my vest, there wasn't even a Slayer back patch yet. So I just took like felt lettering and put Slayer, and a big Metallica Jump in the Fire back patch, and I had drawings. I have drawings all over it that I drew of all these bands that didn't have patches.
Stuff.
Well, with pen, with magic marker, like some of it artistic, some of it not so much, you know, and like in bands like Dark Angel, Possessed, Exodus, like I just drew their stuff on my vest. And then I had one thing on one pocket, it said "Posers will die." So to your point, I remember too going to shows in LA, and if somebody wore a Motley Crue shirt to the show, to a Slayer show, they would get the shirt ripped off their back. It would get thrown up to Tom, and he would burn it on stage.
Right. Yeah. The genres were very separated. You know, it was such a
bullshit, to be honest.
Like, I just saw this thing on YouTube. Sebastian Bach was getting interviewed back in the day, and they compared him to Poison, and he got so pissed he threw the mic at the guy and left the interview. You know, it's like, God. And now it's like we're so happily lumped into one big thing, especially with these festivals like Danny Wimmer's festivals. You know, Motley Crue, Korn, Slayer. It's like we're all one big happy family finally. That's why it feels like rock is like definitely on its biggest wave ever coming in.
Yeah, and thank God for people like Danny Wimmer for that, because that gatekeeper shit was bullshit, to be honest. I lived it. I hated it. You know, it was stupid. And like, I liked punk too. I couldn't go to a punk show because I was a long hair. So if you were a long hair and you went to a punk show, you got your ass beat, and vice versa.
Right.
And it was like, we were both getting our ass beat by the jocks at school. Band together, idiots.
Yeah. Yeah. That was kind of the coolest thing about Lem, right? Lem had long hair, but he was punk rock, you know?
Exactly. And then he's dating Wendy O. Williams, so that brought it all together, you know?
Yeah, right. God, why don't they do that? Like, we need some more. Well, I guess we do kind of have it, right? Even the Maniskin chick, she's wearing like bikinis out on stage. Just like, I don't know. That whole rock and roll attitude is just my favorite thing in existence. You know, it's what makes everything move, you know?
No doubt. And that's what it is. It's an attitude. It's a family. You know, you go to a festival like the Danny Wimmer festivals, and man, we're just one big family. There are no outsiders. We're all inside outsiders, you know, type. And it's just, it doesn't matter. Like, I love that about today. And I love that about music today, because a band or an artist like you can go out there and make whatever music you like, instead of being told what to make, or, you know, having people say, "Oh, you're selling out." Like, and I did it too. Like, listen, Metallica's Black Album, it was at their first show too, and I was like, "What a bunch of sellouts." But I came back to it. But it's that stupid attitude. Like, wouldn't that be a better thing, that your favorite artist could make it so they could keep playing, and so that you could keep enjoying it, and so that we could all be one big family with some great music?
Yeah, I'd be very happy with that level of success.
Right? Exactly. You know, and
actually, you know what I mean? They haven't sold out. They're actually, you know, they're still out there crushing it.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. You know, they just headlined Hellfest again, you know, and so tell us a little bit about this new song, because I dig it and it has some great meaning to it.
Everybody catches their own meaning to songs, I suppose, and that's kind of the beauty. And usually I have a serious, like, there's usually something that I'm really heavily emotionally connected to in order to create lyrics. This was, I think, the last song we worked on during the second phase of the recording process. We would go out and see Matt Good, our producer, for 4 songs at a time. So we did three different sessions, which were about 4 to 5 days each, and we would bust out 4 songs, whether we'd written something before or not. And this one kind of came together last minute, I think on the final day of recording. And, you know, I've always just been fascinated with, you know, vampires and werewolves and, you know, monsters and all that stuff. And, I didn't really want to incorporate that in a try hard kind of a way. So I just sang really about like stuff that really fascinated me. And as I started to do that, I found this beautiful, in the poetry that started coming to mind. There was just this real balance of how there's always something good brings something bad, or there's always just kind of this crazy balance. The song turned out to be really about the catch-22s of life, how if you're loving someone, you're actually killing them, or maybe if you're killing someone, you're actually showing them love. In some cases, it's always about perspective and how you look at things, which really define your opinion of things. And then it's always an opinion. Somebody else can have another one on something. So and I also wanted to do something that was really based in the Day of the Dead, the whole lore. So that's really where the lyrics kind of formed,
And I love everything you're saying, because I'm all about it's all perspective. And I think that everybody around the world, and especially in our country, needs to be reminded of that.
Yeah.
Because it's like human beings can't seem to understand somebody else's and can have a different point of view from different variables in life, whether it be where they live, where they grew up, how they were brought up, what they're exposed to, what their business is, what their work is, anything like that. And like, I think, to me, that's the Day of the Dead. All these people walking around like zombies, like, divided, not understanding what the other person is going through, and maybe having a little empathy for each other instead of attacking each other.
Yeah. Like, death is a celebration. I've lost so many people now. It's like, you have to, I lost my best friend at the top of this year. And it was the first time that I finally was just kind of like, you know what? I really have to celebrate this person. I don't have time to slow down anymore and really just be woe is me or upset, because I know that person lived their life to the fullest. So, the song definitely takes a look at that. It's like, dying is being born, and loving somebody is you could be trying so hard to love somebody, but they feel like you hate them, or sometimes you don't even think that you're trying at all to love somebody, and they can feel like you showed them the most gracious amount of generosity they've ever seen. So it's interesting.
It's interesting what you just brought up too, because my best bro of life, who was like a brother to me since 13 years old, his parents were like parents to me, and my dad was like parent to him, and he ran away from home, lived with me, and we went to millions of shows together. I was at Louder Than Life last year, and I got a phone call after the first night, and he passed in September. So, and then tomorrow, being the 4th of July, his brother, who's like a little brother to me, built this tiki bar in his name at his house, and is having like, a launch of it tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, I'm hopping on a plane to LA just to go for that, and in honor of my fallen brother. So
Nice.
it's interesting that you brought it up in the timing there.
Yeah. Well, hit me up while you're here, man. I'd love to hang.
Yeah, I'll be in Pacific Palisades. I'll only be there for like a day this time,
Cool.
but I always go back. So I might be back in mid-July too.
Cool.
So we'll see what happens. But and then speaking of mid-July, well, almost now we're a week away. July 10th, you got that thing behind me dropping.
White Flame. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We've never been so excited. Like the last, again, like I said, we did it kind of in pieces. So the last 4 songs just got done last month, and then we had this deal pop up with a label in Japan who kind of forced this deadline, which is always the best way to kind of creative. You get a diamond out of the coal. You just got to keep pressing it as hard as you can. So the last 4 songs, these ones that nobody's heard yet, I think are our best yet. So
nice.
It's going to be interesting to let them all out at the same time. It's just we couldn't be more proud or excited about something, and it's really cool to see guys like you and our other friends jumping on board with that.
Well, I love it. And why don't you tell everybody how they can connect to you guys on socials, on the web, how they can check out Ain't All Right, and they can get the new album, White Flame, and check out all your tour dates and buy your merch and all that good stuff.
Well, the beauty about having the craziest name in the business is if you spell it right, like it's spelled right. Oop, wrong way. Right there. Right? If you spell it that way, you can only find us because nobody else is crazy enough to call themselves that. So BUDDERSIDE, all of our socials, our website, our Spotify, everything, every social platform, every platform. If you search for us, you will find us if you spell it right.
And they should.
Yeah.
Spell it how it sounds. So anything else that we want to tell the listeners about that we haven't covered yet?
We have a tour coming up with the 69 Eyes in October to Mexico.
Nice.
There's Louder Than Life, Aftershock, and then there's probably a tour to Japan coming up soon, thanks to the Avalon Marquee label that we're doing some stuff with now. So a lot of stuff happening. We have a listening party if you're in Los Angeles next week on the 10th. The Bourbon Room will be there with Budderside doing some acoustic stuff, and then a listening party with some of our friends from the Hollywood Vampires and Vixen and all types of crazy characters will be there. So drop on by if you're around.
Very cool. I love it. Well, I love your new music. I love all your music, and can't wait to see you at the very least at Aftershock and Louder Than Life, and then hopefully before. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Pipeman, thank you so much. One question for you. How did you get the name Pipeman?
So funny. I always get that question. It's great. It's great that a lot of artists and bands ask that question, considering the most hated question is, how'd you get your band name?
Right.
And,
thank you for not asking that of me. And then I didn't return the favor.
I know, right? And then, so my last name is Piper. So it was like an old nickname from when I was younger that got revised, like risen back up for the radio. And it is great because really every artist wonders where that comes from, and they all are wrong if they guess.
Yeah, I had some pretty weird guesses.
Right. And especially the California people, they always think it has to do with smoking the pipe. In fact, I had one band write a song during the interview about the pipe man and hitting the pipe and all that.
I thought maybe it was what the ladies called you.
Well, it is funny. They do now. And, you know, I was just talking about this with somebody, and you know how this goes too. So when I go out and I do these festivals, it's like all the women, they want to meet Pipe Man, but if I introduce Dean to them, they don't want Dean. They want Pipe Man. They want the radio personality, the podcaster, and that name and all that. And, you know, you understand it's the same, you know, for you. It's like, you never really know if these women want you because you're a musician or if because of you. It's the same thing. So it is pretty funny. And even my kids now will call me Pipe Man sometimes. It's pretty funny.
They used to call me Stone Man in school. And then I actually, the first bass player of Budderside, his name, we shared the same last name, no relation, but he ended up taking the name Stone Man. So that fell by the side. But I would probably be the Stone Man if it wasn't.
Now, see, we could put the similar meaning to it as Pipe Man right there. Maybe the Pipe Man and Stone Man go together. Yeah.
The comic book for sure. Like the new Wolverine and the Deadpool. Right?
I know that one's weird to me. And I love, okay. So I'm one of those freaks that I love all Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's weird putting Deadpool and him together. I'm like trying, because Deadpool is never serious. And he's always serious. So It's like, it's so weird, but I do want to see the movie anyway.
Yeah. Gonna do it.
There it is. All right. Well, you rock. Your music rocks.
Thanks, bro.
And we'll see you again on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman. on W4CY Radio.